Very good morning, students. In the previous session, I have completed the classification of polymers. And till classification of polymers, 2.5 units completed. That is the portion for internal examination. But in the third unit, I'm giving only one question, that is differentiation between thermoplastics and the thermosettings. And remaining important questions already I have shared in the group. So those are from unit 1 and unit 2. And today I'm going to explain you the short answer questions, which are very, very important for the internal examination. Already I have shared these questions to you people in the group. But today I'm going to explain you along with the answers, how to write the answers in the internal examination. The first short answer question is define EMF and electrode potential. What is EMF? EMF full form is electromotive force. Electromotive force is also called as the cell potential. And why the electromotive force is called the cell potential? Because it is the potential arising to the cell. What is meant by the cell? Cell is nothing but it is a combination of two electrodes. When the anode and cathode are combining to the battery, that is called a complete cell. So when these two are connecting to the battery, there is develops a potential difference between the two electrodes. That potential difference between the two electrodes is called the cell potential. So now just let us read out the definition of cell potential. The flow of electricity from one electrode to another electrode in a galvanic cell. The flow of electricity from one electrode to another electrode in a galvanic cell indicates that the two electrodes have different potential. Then only if the two electrodes are having different potential, then only the electricity will be passing from one electrode to another electrode. So that difference of potential between the two electrodes of a cell, which causes flow of current from an electrode at higher potential to other electrode at lower potential, that is known as the electromotive force. So simply you can write the potential difference or the difference of potential between the electrodes of a cell is called electromotive force. The difference of potential between the electrodes of a cell is called the electromotive force. Or else you can write the entire definition. The flow of electricity from one electrode to another electrode is indicating what it is indicating. There is a difference of, there is a different electrode potential of the two electrodes. The difference between the two electrodes electrode potential is called the cell potential or electromotive force. And the next one, electrode potential. Electrode potential is the potential of a single electrode. Single electrode means either anode or the cathode. But when the single electrode develops electrode potential, when a metal rod is dipped in its salt solution, the metal atom tends either to lose electrons or to gain the electrons. What we are seeing, when the metal rod is dipping in its own salt solution. What is mean by own salt solution? When M is dipping, M is nothing but metal. When M is dipping in its own salt solution, what is its own salt solution? MX. Just assume MX. Is it having M? Yes, it is having M. So it is called its own salt solution. If zinc is a metal, zinc sulfate will be the electrolyte. If copper sulfate is the electrolyte, that is not its own salt solution. Own salt is nothing but it must be having the metal ions. So when a metal rod is dipping in its salt solution, the metal atom, whatever the metal is dipping, the metal atom is having either the tendency to gain the electrons or to lose the electrons. So in this process, there develops a potential between the metal atom and its corresponding ion called the electrode potential. But when the metal is either losing the electrons or gaining the electrons, what happens here? We will get a atom. Sorry, we will get an ion. Either we will get the positive ion or the negative ion, but whatever we will get the ion. So that ion and metal difference, yes, there develops a potential between the metal atom and its corresponding ion is called the electrode potential. So you can write from here to here the definition. So these two are for 2 marks question. So you have to write the definition of electromotive force and also electrode potential. And the next question is define a single electrode potential and the standard electrode potential. Single electrode, whatever we have seen in electrode potential, the same will be there in the single electrode potential also. But just let us see clearly what is single electrode potential. Single electrode means either for anode or for the cathode. Each electrochemical cell is made up of 2 electrodes. Now I said that how the cell is forming by combining the anode and the cathode. At one electrode, electrons are evolved. At other electrode, electrons are used up. That means at one electrode, electrons are removing, and at another electrode, electrons are gaining. And each electrode which is dipped in its salt solution is called half cell. This electrode potential is called the half cell. When the metal is dipping in its own salt solution, that is called the half cell. And the potential of half cell, that is the potential difference between the metal and its salt solution which is dipped, is called the single electrode potential. The same definition for electrode potential and the single electrode potential. The potential difference between the electrode and its salt solution is called single electrode potential. But it cannot be measured directly. The single electrode cannot be measured directly. How can we measure? If we have the another electrode, if we have 2 electrodes, then only we can find the electrode potential of one. That is single electrode potential. Standard electrode potential means same definition for single electrode potential and the standard electrode potential. But here the electrode potential value at room temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure. The same definition, the potential difference between the metal and its salt solution in which it is dipped at room temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure. That is called standard electrode potential. So whatever the electrode potential you're going to find at room temperature and 1 atmospheric pressure, that electrode potential value is called the standard electrode potential. So that is single electrode and the standard electrode potential. So now let us see the third question. Write the cell notation for quinhydrone and calomel electrode. So what is the question? Read the question carefully, and based on the question only you have to write the answer in the internal as well as in the external examination. See here what the question is. The question is write the cell notation for quinhydrone and the calomel electrode. That means you have to write only the cell notation. You should not write the calomel electrode. You should not write the entire cell reaction. You have to write only the cell notation. I explained how to write the cell notation in the galvanic cell. In the galvanic cell, we have seen that left side we have anode electrolyte, double vertical line, cathode electrolyte, single vertical line, and the cathode. Again, I'm repeating how to write the cell notation for the general galvanic cell. Anode, single vertical line, anode electrolyte, double vertical line, cathode electrolyte, and cathode. So here I will write. So here I will write sorry, it's not possible, but this is the way of writing the cell notation. See how to write the calomel electrode cell notation. Left side we have electrode, right side we have electrolyte. If it is anode, if it is cathode, it will be reverse. That means first we have to write KCl, and then we have to write, first we have to write KCl, then we have to write the electrode. Yes. So like that, we have to write the cell notation. This is the electrode in the calomel electrode. Platinum is the electrode. But how the platinum electrode is? The platinum electrode is dipping in mercury and mercurous chloride paste. So platinum comma mercury, single vertical line mercurous chloride, single vertical line KCl. This is for anode. If it is for cathode, how to write? Reverse KCl, platinum mercury, mercurous chloride. This is for calomel electrode. And now let us see for the Quinn hydrogen electrode. How to write for the Quinn hydrogen electrode? Same here. Here I am giving just for the anode. If it is for cathode, reverse. Platinum quinone hydroquinone, single vertical line HCl. And here in the place of slash, you can write comma also. Only in between Q, H to Q, you can write the comma. But in between the electrode and electrolyte, you must put the slash. Platinum, quinone, hydroquinone, and the hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid is the electrolyte. If it is for cathode, first HCl and then platinum, quinone, and the hydroquinone. This is the cell notation for Quinn hydrogen electrode and the calomel electrode. So now let us see the differences between just a minute. Okay. So let us see the differences between primary, a secondary, and the fuel cell. So everyone, you know what is mean by the primary battery, secondary battery, and the fuel cell. What is mean by the primary battery? Primary battery means the battery which cannot be recharged, like our wristwatch batteries and remote control batteries, and the batteries which are there in the toys and in some electronic equipments which are non-rechargeable. That is called primary batteries. Non-rechargeable batteries are also called as a primary battery. And the secondary battery means the battery which can be recharged, like our mobile phone battery and car batteries. Yes, automobile batteries. Here, all these are comes under the secondary battery which are rechargeable. And the other one, a fuel cell. Let us see the differences between primary, secondary, and the fuel cell. It acts as a simple galvanic cell. What is the work of galvanic cell? Galvanic cell is using to convert chemical energy to electrical energy. Directly it is giving electricity, but the reverse reaction will not be possible in the primary battery. So it is acting as a simple galvanic cell. Whereas in the secondary cells, it acts as a both galvanic cell and also as an electrolytic cell. When it is acting as a galvanic cell in the discharging process is nothing but in the usage. In the usage, it is called the discharging process. In the discharging, it is acting as a galvanic cell. But whereas in the recharging, it is acting as an electrolytic cell. And it acts as a simple galvanic cell. Same like per primary battery, even fuel cell also acting as a galvanic cell. That means in this also the cell reaction is a one direction. What is the nature of galvanic cell? It is converts chemical energy to electrical energy. And that is the first point in primary cell. And here cell reaction is not reversible. That's what we are saying here. It is a galvanic cell only. The reverse reaction will not be possible. So it is not reversible. The reaction is a one direction reaction. This is not two direction reaction. That means there is no reversibility here. So the reaction is not reversible. But cell reaction can be reversed. How we are going to reverse the cell reaction? By applying the direct current. By putting the plug, again we are recharging that. That means the cell reaction will be reversed. After discharging, what is happening? Again, recharging is happening by applying the direct current. So the secondary batteries can be recharged. So it can be reversed. And here also the cell reaction is not reversible, same like primary batteries. And it cannot be recharged. It can be recharged and do not store energy. These are not even storing energy like primary batteries. And it can be used as long as the materials are active in their composition. So when the materials in the battery are active, then only it will be work. After complete discharging, these are not working. But it can be used again and again by recharging the cell. But in the fuel cell, energy can be withdrawn indefinitely as long as outside supply of fuel is maintained. So when we are supplying the fuel and oxygen continuously in the chamber, then only we can run the fuel cell. So here the energy can be withdrawn indefinitely as long as outside supply of fuel is maintained. But when it is stopped, it is also stopping here. That is about the fuel cell. And here example is dry cell. And here example is lead acid battery. And here example is the hydrogen oxygen and methanol oxygen fuel cell. But no need to write the applications here. Just I have given the applications also here, but no need to write the applications. So you need to write only these 4 points and the differences between the primary and the secondary battery. And the next question, write the reactions at anode and cathode for dry cell. What is the question? Just you have to write the reactions for anode and the cathode for the dry cell. What is the anode here? Zinc is the anode. Graphite is a cathode in the dry cell. But is graphite is participating in the reaction in the dry cell? No, graphite is not participating. Because of less reactivity of graphite, graphite is coated with a manganese dioxide. So manganese dioxide will be acting at cathode instead of the graphite rod. So let us see the anodic reaction and the cathodic reaction. But before that, what are the reactions taking place at anode and the cathode? At anode, oxidation, at cathode, reduction reaction. So at anode, oxidation means loss of electrons. So zinc is losing 2 electrons to produce Zn plus 2. And these 2 electrons are transferred to the cathode, and cathode is a manganese dioxide. So MnO2 gaining 2 electrons in the presence of moisture. That means in the presence of water. So we will get Mn2O3 and remaining one oxygen and this oxygen and 2 hydrogens are forming 2OH1. So here this is not 2, this is only 1. Yes. So these are the reactions at anode and the cathode. By writing these 2 reactions, you will get 2 marks. So now let us see the next question. Write the overall cell reaction of lead acid battery and methanol oxygen fuel cell. What is the question? Read the question carefully. Write the overall cell reaction of lead acid battery and methanol oxygen fuel cell. Just I'm asking the overall cell reaction. This is the overall cell reaction, Pb plus PbO2 plus 4H2SO4 giving rise to 2BPSO4 plus 2H2O. This is the overall cell reaction. But how you will get overall cell reaction? By adding anodic and the cathodic reactions. But I did not ask that to write anodic and cathodic. I asked only to write the overall cell reaction of lead acid battery. So your duty is just you have to write the overall cell reaction, that is Pb plus PbO2 plus 4H2SO4 giving rise to 2PbSO4 plus 2H2O. And the overall cell reaction for methanol oxygen fuel cell is methanol plus 3/2 oxygen giving rise to carbon dioxide plus 2H2O. If you are writing these 2 steps, you will get 2 marks. Even in the external also. And next question. Define corrosion and explain the causes of corrosion. What is corrosion? The decomposition of the metal or the decay of the metal with unwanted impurities in the environment. That is called the corrosion. Let us see the definition of corrosion. The process of decay of metal by environmental attack is known as the corrosion. What is corrosion? The process of decay of the metal with environmental attack, that is called the corrosion. Example is rusting of iron and black layer on the silver. This is the examples of corrosion. But what is the cause? Why the corrosion is happening on the metal? Let us see the causes of corrosion. The metal exists in nature in the form of their minerals or ores in the stable combined forms. How the metal is existing in the nature? Whatever existing in the nature, that is stable. Whatever existing in the nature, that is in the stable form only. How the metal is existing in the nature? In the form of their minerals. How the metal is existing? In the form of its minerals or the ores. Because it is a combined form is stable here. And what is the combined form here? Either in the oxides or chlorides, silicates, carbonates, and the sulfide. That means metal existing in the environment in the form of metal oxides, metal chlorides, metal silicates, metal carbonates, and the metal sulfides. Because it is stable. But during the extraction of metal, that means when from ore, when we are extracting the metal, when we are getting the single metal, these ores are reduced to metallic state by supplying considerable amount of energy. So hence the isolated pure metal are in excited state than in corresponding ores. That means compared to the ores, these are having the more energy. So these are in the excited state. These are not in the ground state. These are in the excited state because these are having more energy and less stability. That means pure metal is less stable. But which is more stable? Either metallic ore or the minerals are stable in the environment. But we got the unstable metal when we are extracting the metallic ore. So hence the isolated pure metals are in excited state. So metals have natural tendency to go back to the combined state because combined state is stable. So metal is having the tendency to go back to its original position. So if you write only this point also enough for this causes of corrosion. And the next question, differentiate temporary and permanent hardness. What is temporary hardness? The hardness which is temporary. Permanent hardness means the hardness which is not the permanent completely, but which is not like temporary hardness. It is caused mainly due to the presence of dissolved bicarbonates of calcium, magnesium, and other heavy metals. Why the temporary hardness is causing? Due to the presence of bicarbonates of calcium, magnesium, and other heavy metals. So the salts mainly responsible for temporary hardness of water are calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate. Only two are causes for the temporary hardness. What are the two? Calcium bicarbonate and the magnesium bicarbonate. But when bicarbonates are decomposed, yielding insoluble carbonates are hydroxide. So which are gets deposited as a crust at the bottom of the vessel. But no need to write this thing. It is caused by the bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium, and temporary hardness can be largely removed by the boiling of water. On boiling, bicarbonate converts into corresponding carbonates which are insoluble. So they can be removed by the filtration. So what is temporary hardness? The hardness which can be removed by the boiling method. And in this temporary hardness, calcium and magnesium are present in the form of bicarbonates. That means only two salts are responsible for temporary hardness. And no need to write these reactions in the examination, internal examination. But this is calcium bicarbonate, this is magnesium bicarbonate. But I said that on heating, it is converts to calcium carbonate, water, and carbon dioxide. And magnesium bicarbonate is decomposing to magnesium hydroxide and the carbon dioxide. And next, permanent hardness. What is permanent hardness? It is due to the remaining salts. That is, other than the bicarbonates, remaining salts are present in the hard water. Those are called the permanent hardness causing agents. It is due to the presence of dissolved chlorides and sulfates of calcium, magnesium, and iron and other metals. And the salts responsible for permanent hardness are calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, iron sulfate, aluminum sulfate. These are majorly causes for the permanent hardness. Permanent hardness cannot be removed by boiling, but it can be removed by the chemical agents. Yes, that is permanent hardness. So when we add temporary and permanent hardness, we will get the total hardness of water. That is about temporary and the permanent hardness. And the next question, write the units of hardness and define degree of hardness. Just I asked degree of hardness and units of hardness. What is the degree of hardness? The amount of hardness causing salts in the definite quantity of water. Whatever the salt is present, that particular salt amount, how much amount of salt is present in the particular amount of water, that is called the degree of hardness. So the amount of hardness causing salts in the definite quantity of water is called the degree of hardness. And it is expressed in terms of the calcium carbonate equivalence. This is the formula to express the degree of hardness: amount of hardness causing salts divided by molecular weight of hardness causing salt into 100. Just let us assume around 0.5 grams of calcium chloride is present in the water. And how to write the degree of hardness for calcium carbonate, calcium chloride? The amount of hardness causing salt, how much I told? 0.5 grams divided by molecular weight of calcium chloride into 100. That is for degree of hardness. For every salt, whatever the salt is present in the particular amount of water, we have to write that in terms of calcium carbonate equivalent. And next one, units of hardness. There are 4 units of hardness. One is parts per million, milligram per liter, degree Clarke, and degree French. These are the units of hardness. And the next question is explain galvanic corrosion. I asked only galvanic corrosion. Galvanic corrosion is similar to galvanic cell. But in the galvanic cell, what is happening? There are 2 electrodes, anode and cathode. At anode, oxidation, at cathode, reduction takes place. Same like galvanic cell, in the galvanic corrosion also we have the 2 electrodes, anode and the cathode. At anode, oxidation. Oxidation means corrosion. At anode, corrosion takes place. At cathode, there is no corrosion. That means cathodic metal is protected. Anodic metal is undergo corrosion. That is called galvanic corrosion. When 2 dissimilar metals are electrically connected and exposed to an electrolyte, the metal higher in electrochemical series, that means top position in electrochemical series, undergo corrosion, because top metals always acting as anode, so undergo corrosion, and the metal lower in electrochemical series is protected. This type of corrosion is called galvanic corrosion. For example, when zinc and copper are connected and exposed to corroding environment, which is acting as anode? Zinc is anode because it is top position in electrochemical series. Copper is acting as a cathode because it is in the bottom position in electrochemical. So zinc is undergo corrosion and copper is protected from the corrosion. That is galvanic corrosion. And the next question is explain reverse osmosis method. But before that, what is mean by the osmosis? Osmosis means when the 2 unequal concentration. Unequal means different concentrations. When the 2 different concentrated solutions are separated with a semi-permeable membrane in one container. How the 2 solutions are separated? With the help of semi-permeable membrane. Then the solvent will transfer from low concentrated solution to high concentrated solution. That is called osmosis. When the reaction will be reversed, that is called reverse osmosis. Let us see the definition of osmosis and reverse osmosis. But you no need to write all these things in the reverse osmosis process. Just you have to write the definition, that is if, however, up to reversed, and then answer. That is process. When 2 solutions of unequal concentrations are separated by semi-permeable membrane, flow of solvent takes place from dilute to concentrated side. That means low concentrated to high concentrated. That is called osmosis. But when we apply the hydrostatic pressure in excess of osmotic pressure, that means in the reverse direction, that means at higher concentrated side, when we apply the pressure, the reverse reaction will be taking place. That means the solvent will be transferred from higher concentrated to lower concentrated. That is called reverse osmosis. And this membrane filtration is also known as the superfiltration or the hyperfiltration. And the membrane consists of very thin film of cellulose acetate affixed to either side of a portable tube. However, more recently, superior membranes are made up of polymethacrylate and polyamide polymers have come into use. And now let us see the method. This method is very, very important. Just you have to write the definition of reverse osmosis and this method. See here, we have the two portions here. This is semi-permeable membrane and this is seawater and this is a pure water. Seawater is highly concentrated and pure water is low concentrated. Generally, solvent will transfer from low to high. But when we apply the pressure in the opposite direction, that means at higher concentrated side, then the solvent will transfer from seawater to pure water. The reverse osmosis cell consists of a chamber with a semi-permeable membrane, above which seawater, and at bottom we have the pure water. When we apply 15 to 40 kg per kilometer centimeters per pressure is applying at seawater, then the pure water, that means pure water is the solvent here, and whatever the dust particles are there in the seawater, whatever the contaminants are there in the seawater, that will be acting as a solute. So only pure water will transfer from here to here. Like that, we are getting the pure water here. And the last SAQ, which is important in the internal examination, that is impressed current cathodic protection. What is impressed current cathodic protection? In this method, an impressed current is applied in the opposite direction. What is meant by the opposite direction? Opposite direction to the corrosion current. What is meant by the corrosion current? The current which is transferred from anode to cathode. The current which is supplying from anode to cathode. That is called the corrosion current. So what we are doing, we are applying more than the corrosion current in the opposite direction to nullify this, to stop this. That means then the transfer from cathode to anode. That is the impressed current. In this method, an impressed current is applied in the opposite direction to nullify the corrosion current and convert the corroding metal from anode to cathode. The reaction will be reverse. Anode will be converted to cathode, cathode will be converted to anode. So the impressed current is slightly higher than the corrosion current. So thus the anodic corroding metal becomes cathodic and protected from the corrosion. And the impressed current is taken from the battery or rectifier on AC line. And this is impressed current cathodic protection. This is the buried line, and this is the metal which we want to convert to anode. That means initially this is anode, but now I want to protect this. So it is converts to cathode, it is converts to anode here. This is impressed current cathodic protection. In the next class, I'm going to explain you the long answer questions. Thank you so much.